Let's face it, guys, in a lot of ways, this current generation of kids is failing.
You blew it!
But is it actually their fault?
Whose fault is it? It's not my fault. It's their fault. That's right.
I mean, think about it. From the music they listen to the education system, or indoctrination system, to the current social media heroes who they have to look up to. Or what about the fact that they're all being medicated more now than ever? Is it safe to say that the kids aren't alright? And unfortunately, a lot of this is being done deliberately by the system as a whole.
It's deliberate! Deliberate, I tell you!
Which is designed for everyone to fail, essentially, and to just become workers of the state. But I'm here today to dive into some of these deeper issues that are affecting kids and adults alike, and I'm going to provide what I believe to be some of the solutions to these issues. Nothing's going to be fixed overnight, but if each of us takes it upon ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves and models these changes for the kids out there, or for the kids out there who are listening to this, if you guys can all take it upon yourselves to become the best versions of yourselves and then model this behavior for your peers, ultimately everything is going to change for the better. And we can all make a big change and a massive positive impact on society as a whole. So, Hard Truths episode 11, the kids aren't alright. Can you guys handle the truth?
I want the truth!
The truth? You want the truth?
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Let's get to the video now. What's happening, guys? Jared White's back here with another video on the Jared and James channel. If you guys didn't know that, it must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know what you guys think of this video. Follow me on every platform I post regularly everywhere. Check me out wherever you guys listen to content, I'm there. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about why the kids aren't alright these days, and how adults are playing a role in that, and how all these problems are reflecting on our society as a whole, and how to fix them too. First off, when it comes to the music that kids are listening to these days,
Stop hating. Stop participating, star. Come on, twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
I can honestly make a whole video talking about the darkness of the whole music industry and Hollywood, and I probably will at some point, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to keep it to a brief overview of the music industry. First off, money, sex, drugs are basically the only things that rappers will talk about these days. Many of these rappers and musicians as a whole are part of these secret societies who are performing some of these weird rituals and who are playing towards the downfall of our society. And if you were trying to bring down a whole society, where would you start? The kids. So you give them heroes, you give them these rapper heroes who are glorifying drugs, who are glorifying treating women badly, and who are casting spells on everyone, whether it be at these concerts through these weird rituals that happen at these concerts, or whether it be through the lyrics. Because think about it. So like, this is actually something I was thinking about recently. A lot of people, when they're singing rap songs in particular, don't actually know a lot of the words that they're saying.
Roscoe cracked that dough, I kicked it off the heezy and bounced. For real though.
What did you just say?
But they're still putting that energy into those songs, into singing them. And this isn't me saying that you can never listen to rap songs. I listen to rap songs to get me hyped up. But for the most part, I've actually stopped listening to them during the rest of my days outside of when I'm trying to get pumped up for a workout or for a jump session or for a basketball workout. And the reason for this is because I've started to realize how dark and satanic so many of these lyrics actually are. And so if I'm saying them, whether consciously or subconsciously, these are going to be infiltrating my mind, and they're going to be casting spells, and they're going to be creating this reality that doesn't actually benefit us or the kids, and it's going to be leading to more violence. More dark subconscious programming. I mean, think about this. When you go to a Taylor Swift concert or something like that, you're spending thousands of dollars on a ticket, so you're giving all this energy and resources to someone who you're expecting to give you a positive experience. And this isn't me saying that it's not possible to still go to a concert and still have a positive, happy experience, because as someone who I follow on Instagram, electric_being often talks about, you can be in the world but not of it. So it is possible to still enjoy certain TV shows. It's still possible to enjoy music as long as you're aware of the dark programming that goes into it, which is why I believe I could still enjoy some of these things that are in the world without actually giving up my soul to become a part of it. And unfortunately, this doesn't only apply to the rap industry, it goes into all other music areas as well. Also, as I spoke about with RJ during one of my recent Rabbit Hole Roundup podcast episodes, Taylor Swift might be Tina LaVey. It's a very interesting conspiracy, but like, I think it makes a lot of sense. sense when you see the dark path that she's been going down more recently. Next up, we've been told for so long that making as much money as possible is the only thing that matters when it comes to a career or a job.
I like money.
Show me the money.
And what does this lead to? People selling out their souls, people doing whatever it takes to get views, people doing whatever it takes to be approved by their peers without realizing what they're actually losing in the process. I mean, as I spoke about in my video on money, it can be used for good or bad depending on the intentions behind it. But if you're just willing to do whatever it takes to get money, and a lot of this also ties back into the music industry, because I think it was actually Meek Mill even came out recently and actually said that the people who are at the top of the rap industry will only promote people who rap about money, drugs, sex, and won't give you a platform if you don't.
I was on rap stages rapping about, you know, violence and guns. You know, that we get paid to rap about that stuff. They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff.
And once again, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't strive to get as much money as you can, but like, what purpose are you actually going to be using that money for? Are you going to use it to enhance a positive message that you're putting out into the world, or are you going to use it to keep flooding the system with negativity, with low vibrational content, and with low vibrational messages and poor subconscious programming for people? Sounds like an easy choice to me, but like, a lot of people get carried away by the fame drug. As soon as they get hooked in it, all they want is more and more of it. And this leads me into my next point, which is the social media influencers who the kids have to look up to these days. I mean, what message are they actually putting out into the world? Are they just putting out, make as much money as possible, but don't worry about your higher purpose? Don't actually do things that are going to benefit humanity? Don't actually treat people right?
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Which is why I actually take the meaning of the word influencer seriously. So like, whether you want to call me one or not is up to you. But I actually take pride in putting a positive impact out into the world. I take pride in inspiring kids to be their best selves. I actually strive to make the world a better place, and I strive to show kids that you don't have to be just like everyone else in order to be happy and in order to be successful. I want everyone to show their own true individual light into the world, which starts with me, because you don't change the world all at once. You start with yourself, and then you radiate that light outward, and then you help others, and then others are gonna see you modeling the changes that you wish to see, and then they're gonna adopt them too once they see how beneficial those changes are for you. People are attracted to what's real, as I spoke about in the past, but we've also been blinded by the amount of followers that people have, by all this materialism that's surrounding the world. And this illusion that you can just buy happiness, and that having as much materialistic wealth as possible is automatically going to lead to you living a better life. It's not true, and it's not the message that I want to be sending kids out there, or adults out there. It's like, yes, can you get famous by doing stupid stuff? Can you get famous by selling out to please the algorithm and just get as many views as possible? Yes, you can do that. But is that gonna lead to you following your divine purpose in this world?
Oh, hell no.
I don't think so. It appears that being an influencer these days just means getting as many views as you can, no matter how you do it, and only worrying about the likes, the money, the wealth, the fame, as opposed to worrying about teaching positive values and actually influencing people to make better, healthier changes in their lives, which is what I'm trying so hard to do, and I believe I've been successful in doing so with my platform. And to be honest, I'm not even saying that wanting to be an influencer is a bad thing. I want to be an influencer. I want to be able to make money doing my content creation, but the meaning of influencer has been lost in the process because everyone just sees the views, the money, the wealth, the algorithms promoting all these harmful agendas, and to don't actually care about substance or helping people to succeed and thrive in this world. And so when you change up the meanings of words, people lose track of what really matters. And this is why it's so easy for some girl to go on Instagram and get 5 million likes just by taking off some of her clothes, as opposed to the person who actually puts out a positive message and only gets a few likes here and there. But if you're putting out a positive message, you're going to make more of an impact than the person who didn't do anything of value and didn't actually have to work to get those views and to get those likes and to actually make an impact on the people who view that content. As I'm always saying, I would much rather have one viewer or two viewers or one like by putting my best foot forward into the content that I'm creating and to actually make an impact on those one or two people, as opposed to selling out and just posting exactly what the algorithm wants but like isn't going to help any people out there and getting a million likes doing it that way. Maybe I'm crazy.
You are flat out of your mind.
But I just have strong values and strong principles that I try to stick to in my life, and a lot of people have been losing sight of those, unfortunately. And one more thing I want to say when it comes to social media, something interesting that I've noticed recently, and don't get me wrong, social media can be great. I absolutely love having a platform, and I do love certain aspects of it, but it's so important to not fall into these victim traps because, for instance, you might find thousands of people out there who are going through the same thing that you are, and I think that's awesome.
You're just like me. Trash.
But you don't want to lose sight of healing from that thing that you were looking for a support group for, because oftentimes misery loves company, and as a result, people are going to try to pull you down to their level, as like the whole crabs in the bucket story goes, and they're not going to want you to break free, and to break free from that cage, and to level yourself up beyond that.
You know, I took the whole door off and the hinges and I put it in the boy's hands. You could put the hinges on the hands too.
So like for instance, you may have a certain diagnosis, even though as many of you know, I don't really like diagnoses, or you may even self-diagnose based on something that you see on TikTok or on Instagram, and then you might find a whole group of people who've been going through the same symptoms for years. But how many of those people are actually trying to heal from that diagnosis?
How about new?
How many people are actually shedding those labels, and how many people are actually working towards bettering themselves and going beyond that state? Because if they're not, then they're only going to be holding you down, and being part of that social media group is only going to make you a perpetual victim as opposed to a victor over your circumstances. Also, going back to what I was saying before when it comes to the music industry, this doesn't only apply to rap. As I read in the book Weird Scenes in Laurel Canyon, the CIA and all these intelligence agencies, as well as Tavistock Institute, have infiltrated all levels of music and have promoted certain people based on certain messages that they want to promote. And as I speak about on here all the time, words have power, and so if you're constantly singing certain songs about anything, whether it be I'm just a low-life loser,
when I ripped my pants,
or the whole sex, money, drug stuff, you may actually start acting out some of these things subconsciously and putting those out into the world, which ultimately leads to lower vibrations, lower frequencies, and a less healthy, weaker, more dependent society. Next up, we have the education system, or as I often call it, the indoctrination system. And once again, this could be a whole video in and of itself, and I probably will be making more videos talking about this, but the education system teaches kids what to think rather than how to think, and how to expand their minds beyond the limits of the classroom. I mean, think about it. For all my fellow truth seekers out there, as we know, the Rockefeller education system teaches kids scarcity of resources, which isn't true.
No, not true.
Lie to your wife, lie to yourself.
We have an abundance of resources.
Showed that you could drill primary water wells, which are wells that never run out of water because they're tapping into the water that's deep below the surface. And all of a sudden, this book vanished.
And may even have more than we even know of. It teaches them that germs are bad, germs are the enemy, as opposed to teaching them about the importance of keeping a healthy terrain and of being consciously intentional over every input that goes into your body, and understanding that sickness is caused by a state of dis-ease and is caused by all these toxins and toxic inputs that we're all surrounded by, and it's not caused by anything that's made by any other person. It also teaches kids that it's normal to be sitting down in class for 8 hours a day, to have to ask for permission to go to the bathroom, to have to live a completely sedentary life, and then you go home and have hours of homework.
That is correct.
And as I actually learned recently, homework was actually originally meant to be a punishment. It was not meant to be an everyday thing, but trust me, in high school, when I was doing hours of homework every night and I was sacrificing sleep just to get good grades, that was definitely punishment for me, if you know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? You know.
And doing it that way wasn't good for my health, but this was seen as normal. I could go into so much more when it comes to the education system, but like, I'm going to keep it to a few points here. The history that gets taught in the education system is a complete lie. We're also shown the ball earth as one of the first things, which, as I spoke about on here in the past, doesn't actually add up. I'm not going to get too far into that in this video for the sake of this video, but you guys know my thoughts if you've listened to any of my other Hard Truths or Rabbit Hole Roundup podcasts. We're not taught certain things in history, such as MK Ultra, such as why a government starts certain wars, or such as the whole purpose behind the two-party system and what it was actually designed to do. We're also taught this nonsense of fossil fuels and evolution, which is all about getting us further away from God and further away from our God-given purpose on this earth. We're taught that we just landed here by accident, and that therefore we should just leave the great stuff up to the celebrities and the politicians.
I don't think so.
Why is it demonized whenever kids ask questions? I mean, I think we should be questioning everything, but instead these days we're being taught that only certain questions are allowed. That only what's being shown in the textbooks is the truth. When I've actually learned that so much of what we've been taught has been complete lies, and it's been about caging in the mind, getting us to only think within a certain framework, and not allowing us and our minds to roam free, because if we did that, we'd realize how wrong and unjust the whole system actually is. And we'd actually realize how we've been lied to So the goal of the quote-unquote people in power is to keep us distracted as much as possible, keep us doing their schoolwork 8 hours a day plus homework, becoming a nation of workers rather than a nation of thinkers and critical thinkers, so that this way we never stop and think to ourselves, could there be more beyond this? Why have I been shown all this lack and scarcity when I should be living in a world of abundance that's right around me? Beyond this whole matrix, and beyond these people who are telling me to stop exploring and to only stay within these walls. Moreover, these days, unfortunately, kids are being sexualized from a young age, which is super dangerous and honestly severely immoral. I think it's actually disgusting what's going on. Whether it's the whole drag queen story hour or whatever these kids are learning about when it comes to what their teachers are doing outside the classroom.
Next one, would you ever go out with anybody from class?
Grown-ups like to go out with other grown-ups.
I mean, whatever happens in your bedroom is between you and whoever you're doing it with, but that stuff should not be taught to kids. It's ultimately creating a very sexually immoral culture. Once again, this ties into the music and it ties into all the social media stuff that's being promoted, whether on TikTok, Instagram, whatever all these algorithms are promoting. Kids were not meant to be sexualized from such a young age. Kids were not even meant to know about any of the stuff that they all seem to know about these days. We need to get back to allowing kids to maintain their innocence and to maintaining that incredible spark that all kids have, which gets taken away by the education system and by many parents as well. Let kids have dreams, allow kids to expand their mind, allow kids to expand their consciousness, and there's actually so much for us to actually learn from kids. I think kids are incredible because they're actually the most down to earth, both literally and figuratively speaking, and they're actually the closest to God, I believe, and they're masters of living in the moment. But a lot of this gets taken away by the education system, which actually leads me into my next point, which is that these days kids are being medicated more and more often, whether it's being given psychiatric drugs, gastrointestinal drugs, antibiotics, that stuff, you guys know what I'm talking about, etc., at a higher rate now than ever, which is full of heavy metals, toxins, all that stuff is. The whole pharmaceutical industry is complete. You guys know what I'm saying here, but like, I don't want to get too into this because I don't want to get taken down by YouTube. Anyways, whenever a kid has a different way of thinking these days, they immediately get prescribed with Adderall or any of these psychiatric drugs.
He's been a little difficult to deal with. And on page 2 of 3 in the How to Be a Teacher manual, it says that any child who's being difficult should be medicated,
which likely leads to decreasing their personality.
I took your advice. From now on, I'm normal.
Or getting rid of their rage, as I mentioned in my video talking about the predictive programming in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie. I mean, even the kids who aren't being medicated, I see the whole school system really removing a lot of that creative energy and energy in general, because so much of that ends up getting devoted to all these things that don't actually matter, and so much of that time gets devoted to those things. But oftentimes, these kids who are acting out aren't taught how to deal with their emotions, so this actually leads to them acting out. This leads to them throwing temper tantrums.
That's it.
Or oftentimes, many parents don't actually show their kids enough attention because they're just putting them on iPads or iPhones to keep them distracted. And when these kids have tons of energy, they're super active, super hyper, and then you put them inside these walls for 8 hours a day, tell them to sit down, shut up, and only ask questions that pertain to the information that's being taught. What do you think is going to happen to a free-thinking mind that gets constrained like that? They're going to act out, and then unfortunately what often happens these days is that the parents start medicating them, and then all that creativity gets lost and wasted. When these kids could have been so much more if we would only allow them and encourage them to be their true selves, and give them other outlets for using that energy for positive purposes rather than shutting it down and medicating it away or suppressing it away. Also, moreover, food affects their mood as well. Food affects all of our moods as well. And tying this back into the whole sexualization of kids, once again, this isn't me putting down anyone who believes whatever about themselves. I'm all for live and let live as long as you're not forcing it onto anyone, and particularly kids. But the hormones that are in foods these days, the phytoestrogens, the plastics, the you know what, once again, all that stuff is going to affect kids' hormones, and it's going to make them question who they are, but not in the right way, not in the right context. When you're teaching them all about different genders, when you're teaching them that men can have babies, I mean, like when you're showing them 150 different genders as opposed to the 2 God created ones. Once again, I don't mean any offense to anyone who believes differently. You do you. I have no issues with people who are living out their own authentic path, but make sure that that path isn't coming from someone else, and that it's not just this indoctrination that's being forced upon them or forced upon you. Getting back to the food though, when our foods are full of toxins, when they're full of pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate, seed oils, and also, like, once again, the fluoride, toxins that are being sprayed on us, all this stuff is going to have an effect on your mood, and it's going to have an effect on your health, But like when you just suppress it away with medication, you're not actually addressing the root of the issue. You're not actually addressing why these kids are acting out. You're not addressing why they have certain delays. You're not addressing why their behavior is actually being shown in the way that it is. And oftentimes detoxification, I've actually seen detoxification help me in tremendous ways when it comes to my whole healing journey for my major health issues. And I've seen it have a massive impact on young kids when it comes to speech delays, when it comes to behavioral problems, when it comes to mood issues. So remember, our food affects our mood, our environment affects our mood, and we need to be addressing these from a root cause standpoint, not just suppressing or medicating it away. We're yelling at kids to sit down, shut up, because it's not going to actually solve the root of the problems. And lastly, the last point I want to make in this video is that the fear of failure has been shown to us, has been shown to kids over and over again. It's always like, if you don't do things the conventional way, you're gonna end up with no money, you're gonna end up miserable, and you're gonna be poor, and you're gonna have nothing to show, and you're gonna end up living a horrible life. But what do we see with so many adults these days who did everything the conventional way, who did things just to make money, who never actually went after their dreams? Did they all actually look happy to you?
What about you, parents? Did the system really work out for you? Did it teach you to follow your heart or to just play it safe, roll over?
Or do you see the people who went after their dreams, who did things the unconventional way, who may have had to go through tons of failures in order to reach their first piece of success, who's actually doing things the better, more fulfilling way? And so the whole school system and our society as a whole is always going to try to scare people into conforming to the group, to thinking with the group, to never calling outside the lines, to just going along to get along, to following orders. But I think 9 times out of 10, it's the people who are willing to look foolish, who are willing to follow their dreams, and who are willing to fail, who are going to have the most success and the most happiness in life. We can't let this fear of failure stop us from being all that we can be and all that we know that we're capable of. Whether you're a kid, whether you're an adult, I don't care how old you are, you have a unique DNA, you have a unique purpose being here. And so if you don't honor that, you're going to lose out on opportunities. You're going to miss out on the opportunity to be a massive success in the thing that you're actually really passionate about, and the thing that actually drives you to push through all the obstacles, to overcome failure. You can do it. I know I can do it. I know I was meant for more than the whole conventional wisdom may have showed me. I think we have to encourage that for all people and all kids out there. I never liked this whole leave it up to these people, because these people were born special and you weren't. I never bought into that. And to all the people, to all the kids out there who might be listening to this video, and to everyone out there who this message reaches, you got this. You can do anything. You just have to start with a limitless mentality and an abundance mindset, and don't let any of the issues that I spoke about in this video stop you from being all that you can be and all that you're capable of. You were put here to do great things. I think all of us were, if we'd only first see it for ourselves. And moreover, be part of the solution. That's why I always wanted to be the person who I needed when I was a kid, and that's why I'm trying to model the changes that I wish to see in the world. That's why I'm trying to be a positive role model, a positive influence for anyone out there who listens to me. And I want people to feel supported in their dreams, and I want people to remember that it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to not try. Life can be hard sometimes, but if you stay true to the path, appreciate the journey, and are willing to think outside the box, to go beyond the conventional way that the rest of society is going, which often leads to unhappiness and feelings of regret and unfulfillment, you can be someone who shows others what's possible. You can show others that anything is possible if they'd only be willing to first try. Model the change for the kids. Show them that there is another way, and you can be part of the solution yourselves. Anyways, guys, I love you all. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think of this video. Let me know how I did as far as my solutions. Let me know if I missed any problems when it comes to the kids in our society. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.